Okay, so our argument topic is on the negative side on tariffs. And so what tariffs negatively do is that they restrict or discourage imports by making imported goods much more expensive than domestic goods. So consumers are technically not legally prohibited from purchasing these foreign produced goods. It's just that the tariffs make these goods much more expensive than they usually are. And that usually gives consumers an incentive to buy these domestically produced goods that seem competitively priced or less expensive in comparison. So a visual example of the cons of tariff or negative side tariffs is so if a company imports $100 in Danish tariffs into the U.S., the U.S. Must pay a $10 tariff at the U.S. Border, which leaves the company more likely to increase the price of those hams in the U.S. to make up for the cost of the tariffs. Consumers can be expected to consume fewer Danish hams if they cost more than the domestic hams, even if the Danish hams are thought to be superior in quality rather than to the domestic hams.
Okay, so hi. I'm going to be talking about tariffs, and as my group stated before, we were talking about the cons of tariffs. And so to begin with, I just want to give you a quick recap on what tariffs were before I continue. So tariffs are a tax paid on a particular item on specific imports or exports. So an example of this would be, say, the U.S. exporting steel to Canada. But as of now, it doesn't have any tariffs on it anymore. But what is NAFTA? So I have John here, and he'll explain to you what NAFTA is.
NAFTA, which is a North American Free Trade Agreement established in 1994, which is the largest free trading zone, which has contributed to the growth and prosperity in Canada, United States, and Mexico.
Thanks, John. Okay, so to continue, protectionism is the economic policy of restraining trade between states through methods such as tariffs on imported goods and restricted quotas on a variety of other government regulations designated to allow fair competition. So I'll continue by explaining our points. Okay, so later on in this video, you'll see the nitty-gritty of tariffs and how we're going to counter how tariffs are pro. And we'll talk about consumers and domestic companies and how consumers do lose at the end of the day to protect, which is the protectionism part of tariffs, the domestic companies in Canada. So an example of this later on that we'll discuss is cheese, like foreign cheese, and how tariffs are added to those products to get into the country so that domestic companies that do produce cheese don't lose in their competition, ultimately. And so at the end of the day, to get a better variety of food, consumers have to pay more for it. And so we'll discuss those types of things later on in this video.